Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Right. And shine, even on a cloudy day. You can see that big ass cloud just dip behind the sun, but it doesn't mean we ain't shining. And this morning, I have to have the conversation about waking the fuck up. That's right, I had a shrill go down my spine yesterday watching Xi Jinping walk in the middle looking like Mao Zedong wearing old fucking communist uniforms and looking like he's kicking it with your boy Putin, and then your boy Kim Jong-un on the right looking ass, pointing ass, fucking got nuclear weapons ass, all three of them. And I was like, this is a show of force. You know, nobody wants to talk about it. Normally, I don't talk about politics and Saints addiction, but this morning, we're going to have to get into it. It's a cute dog. Too cute, too cute. Yeah, brother. Morning, sunshine. Trying to get the morning motivation going. I'm just disappointed, you know, that we as human beings haven't learned. Of course, you want to protect yourself. Which is the biggest country in the world. You could use a little shaving there, Russia. And then China is like, hey, I want access to the ocean. And Taiwan used to be our little bitch and part of us, so we're going to need that piece too. And by the way, it's a geopolitical move because they have all the semiconductors, and whoever runs that runs the world. And I wouldn't even run this phone if we didn't have those things. And then you go and boil it down to your bastardized son, Kim Jong-un, who eats food and watches why I think it was a dude that was like feeding his dogs, was stealing the steaks from the dogs that they were feeding him, and they killed his ass. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think I'll go somewhere different this morning. Just walk over here by the river, have a joint, and have this conversation. Because I had this idea years ago. I was mad. I was doing a Cambodia visa run, and I was like, man, nobody would stop China if they invaded Cambodia, you know? And I thought about like Tibet and other countries that have been, you know, taken advantage of or overtaken by bigger forces or bigger countries. And that's what this whole conversation's about. It's about these countries that, you know, nobody's going to stop them, you know, and we could barely stop them in the first place. Let's cross some dangerous roads. I'm going to do some illegal crossings here. Look at this big old spaceship, man. There's the sun behind these clouds, but it's not too bad. It's definitely hoodie weather, and it's definitely the fall of the Roman Empire and the fall of the American Empire, I guess, if we all call it that. You know, when you become so big, they say too big to fail. Well, the other guys were waiting for us to get lazy, you know, get on our laurels and sit there and just not give a fuck, right? What's up, Lua? I see you. And not give a fuck when we're like, okay, they're stealing our intellectual properties. They're direct copying our F-35s. They've shot down our drones. Iran remade the drones and made them act like they're their own. And then, of course, you know, sit there and maybe get too big for our britches. We got lazy and we're gonna like not watch our own allies like NATO and threaten them that they got to pick up the slack, which they do because, you know, they got to protect themselves too, right? And I'm talking to my friends here in Finland, and they got 280,000 troops ready to muster. They can rest if they put in their reserves. They can get up to about 900,000 people, almost a million-man army. And my buddy's, well, how many people are in the Chinese army? And I'm like, 1 million, you know? And he's like, they're fucking pussies. And I'm like, yeah, they could be pussies. They don't want this smoke. I lived in China for about 5 months of my life, and I had to put my eyes on it. You know, I had to see it with my own eyes and see that these guys really are crabs in a barrel. You know, when you have such a piss poor environment and it's so polluted, and you know, everybody wants to get out. They want to get their kids an American education so that they can have a home, so that they can move the family over to America. And trust and believe, there was a second there where there were more billionaires there than there were in America. I'm not Peter Zine, and this isn't you know, I don't normally do the morning motivation about politics, but when they want to show force, these three guys, and they want to mimic the errors of Lenin and Mao Zedong and all these other Stalin, if you will, all these other corrupt motherfuckers from the beginning of time. Yeah, this is my river time. Check this out. I love my life! Yes, that fresh air smell and being right next to the water, I just want to chill. So we'll see what these people are doing, but they got these beautiful bridges and everything. But yeah, by the time they want to threaten the world order and who's really in power and who they're gonna fucking bully and make things do, and oh shit, I shit on the wet too. It's a scary situation to see these guys want to shake up everything. Thank you for saying that, Lua. It's fucking scary, bro, because these guys haven't forgot to arm themselves and build up armament and build up tanks and build up the UAVs and build up the drones and try to show this force to the world that we're in cahoots. Me and these bad boys are going to go into the block with our baseball bats and our bad attitudes and start some shit. And we're all like, where I come from, don't start none, won't be none. You know what I mean? And that sun's still out. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's still behind the clouds, but it's still kind of warm. And it's that kind of scary shit that keeps us from being in peace and prosperity, where we have to put all our energy into making our own factories as Americans and start making our own bombs. And matter of fact, I did flyers in an hour for a company that makes drones completely in America. I asked him, even the batteries? He said, even the batteries, bro. And I was like, yes. Apparently there's some parts, like 2% of it was made in Switzerland, but like almost 100% was made in America. And this is why we have to have this conversation, because we can't have isolationism. It doesn't work. It didn't work for China. It didn't work for Japan. Trying to keep the Western world out, or trying to keep the revolution or the industrial revolution out, was a piss poor mistake, because all we did was just come in and beat them on the coast. If they would have fought us 20 miles in, we would have never won. And this stuff starts happening. Yeah, it's very beautiful here. This is why I come and chill here. I just want to fucking chill out, smoke a little bit, and relax, because I'm like, this is the closest we've ever been to World War III, dude. You know, these guys all have nuclear options. You know, they're all scared. I'm talking to my Finland friends, like, they don't want this smoke. You know what I mean? They don't want this smoke. They're a bunch of fucking pussies. And then we got this 800-kilometer line sharing with this big ass country. Fucking Russia's huge. And then to see them combine, and this is why I'm having this conversation, because this is what happened in my mind. So if they kick in, if you will, I call it the beach ball. If they come in over Cambodia, that Sino-Russia war that happened from before, where it would be China and Russia would combine and take over all the Southeast Asian states, even your South Korea, your Japan, and your Philippines, like they're all up for being taken over, because they're too small to fight by themselves, but too big. Their adversary is too big to fail. And then us as America, of course, we got Canada and Mexico, which are like our little brothers. And then, of course, out South America. So that would be that whole strip of what we call Western civilization, or the Western hemisphere. And you got the Eastern hemisphere, which would be China, Russia, and the rest of them taking over all the little orbital states, maybe even Thailand, which is in my heart. Like, you know, there's nothing to stop them from taking over these spots. And then there would be, of course, Europe, which would take over Africa, and it would have their own strip, just like a beach ball, just the red, blue, and yellow stripe, because they used to colonize Africa. So I just figured these would be the three world powers, so it'd be 2-on-1. Except for I just saw 3 of those fuckers yesterday, and I was just like, uh-oh, this is all bad, bro. This isn't looking good at all. These motherfuckers want that smoke, and they don't want the good kind of smoke like I got right here. They don't want it like a dog on shirt, which is really cool. Yeah, bro. Dogs on shirts. Yes, on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. You put your dog on your shirt. You have dogs on shirts. Yeah. Got you, bro. And that's what it is. It was the scariest thing I've seen in a long time, to see these guys combine and want that smoke to show off. You know, they're 80 years since World War II, and now they're showing off UAVs. Their B-2 bombers look like our bombers. Their H bomber, you know, they copied literally the F-22 and the F-35s. They stolen, I don't know how many billions of dollars, or maybe even trillions of dollars of intellectual property, and pretended to be theirs. And they haven't fought a war in over like 60 years, so we don't even know what they're capable of and what their mentality is. But they are setting up a new world order. They did invite India over and Russia the day before to have a Shanghai conference. They didn't invite what's his face in on it, your boy Kim Jong-un. He's not in that conference, but he set up to act like he was at war. So they're just showing off all these hypersonic missiles, all these drones, UAVs, unmanned vehicles. You know what I mean? And they're trying to pop off. They have the largest navy, China does, and then of course, you know, the biggest country, Russia, combined is this whole strip of this fucking beach ball, and it's not a fun ball to be playing with, because then everybody else is going to have to get up, just like Finland does and just like Russia does, and they're going to all have to step up and start out armoring each other. And that's why I was like, wake the fuck up, bro. Like, I'm having this conversation this morning, but the wake the fuck up moment of today was just like, these guys want some smoke, and we're going to have to go in there and do something about it. And I'm like, already the world's populations are plummeting. You know, we can't make any babies because we don't have any money, but we're sure not going to make a bunch of babies when it's World War III, when we thinking that nuclear bombs are going to be falling, or maybe they do. Nobody's going to be like, spread my pussy and come nut inside this so we can have this amazing experience. That shit goes right out the fucking window. And next thing you know, all we're going to do is fight each other for the scraps and have to defend our neighbors so that the bullies don't come over and start fucking with us. And trust you me, they got a big stick. It's the tyranny of distance. If you don't know what that means how far it is to travel across these long ass oceans like the Pacific and the Atlantic. Sure, America's the most powerful force still in the world, but fuck, they're so far away. You know, it's only 120 kilometers away for your boys Taiwan from the edge, and they already got Macau and they already got Hong Kong, so they're eyeballing the next one so that they don't create this what they call the 9-dash line from Japan, Korea, down to the Philippines, and we pretty much got the South China Sea all locked in. They're gonna bottle back. They've been bottling back for their fishing spots. They're already ramming each other with the fucking thing. I gotta smoke, man. This shit's stressing me out. And that's this morning's motivation, is to stay motivated. You know thy enemy. I researched China a lot. I spent 5 months of my life in Xi'an, China, watching these small people cut each other off in traffic, and not letting the old lady to get off the bus, and she spun around and fell off. I even got white in my beard and black underneath my eyes and shit, and it was all bad, bro. And I know for facts that they're trying to leave their environment too. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, you would too. Lin Finn, the world's most polluted place on earth, is a coal mine, and they just got trucks and trucks of coal coming out all the fucking time. And for us to just to watch them, you know, ruin their water and ruin their air. I mean, I didn't see the sun set. I tell everybody, if you were to watch the sun rise, you got to wait for like a good inch before the sun gets through all this like orange shit. And then when the sun goes to set, it sets an hour early because it goes behind all this green and purple shit. It's the truth. I don't know if you've ever been to China, but I've been there, bro. Right there in Beijing, and I was going around in the Olympics, and I'm seeing the Olympic Stadium. And then I walk from the building, and then I can't see the other building because the fucking fog and smog is so bad. The pollution's so bad. The population pollution's unreal. And then you go over there, and you're like, wait, I was just over there. So that means I was breathing in that air. And that's some fucked up air, bro. I'm telling you, I started getting sickness, and I told them, my grandma died, not the grandma that I know, but the other grandma that I didn't. And I got out of that 5 months I was teaching English there, and I got out of that contract and ended up going back into Thailand and teaching. But damn, bro, they're crabs in a barrel, and they'll do anything to keep each other down. And right now they're trying to act like they're the big bully, back on track, like they're the new world order. The century of humiliation is over. That all those years where we were coming up their rivers with our steamboats and our cannons and giving them opium and the opium wars. I witnessed this. I was in Hong Kong. I went into the museum, and it was a big deal. They made like cannonball size fucking opium, and they burned it all. They're like, no more foreigners. And we went over there and we're like, yes, we will. We're going to bring drugs in your country. And they were humiliated and weakened. And if the Japanese didn't weaken the national army, we wouldn't have a pro-communist China. But guess what? They were fighting on both fronts. And then this nationalist got beat out by Mao Zedong, and now they're communist, and they're going to been building it up, taking all of America's money by buying Temu shit, and turning around and buying military hardware. And that's what's ended up happening. We basically funded their army, and trust me, they ratcheted it up. They're spending more than anybody. Well, America spends like 8 times more than anybody, but China definitely the next three. And they just keep combining arms so that they can go come and beat us. Right? They don't want to. They will not be intimidated by bullies, is what he spoke about yesterday, and it's fucking scary, man. I'm sitting here chilling by a river in this peaceful ass sunshine that's called Finland. It's a very peaceful country. Nobody's like, people are jogging and walking and chilling and all these things. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to interrupt these things. We won't be able to chill anymore. We'd have to go to war. That's right. They got conscription here in Finland. It's mandatory for the men to do 2 years in the army, and they know they have to defend themselves. They have silos underneath the ground. They have what do you call that when you go when you live underground? What do they call that thing when you have like a facilities underground where people can live in case there is some nuclear war? They're like prepared for Russia to come back a third time. So it's not just Ukraine, it's all of them. It's Lithuania, Estonia. They want all that territory back. And trust you me, they're not going to ask nicely. These aren't nice people. Chinese, Russia, North Korea. It's some corrupt state. And then we have to ask ourselves, is that the world that we want to live in? Do we want to live in the Western civilization, or what we call the American empire, right? And where we don't go take other countries and we don't invade other countries and we ain't trying to start no war. But trust me, we got to carry a big stick. We got to carry this big stick and get back on our own semiconductor shit. Where America's created the semiconductors, but no, we opted out to Taiwan. And now these motherfuckers are making the best shit, the best chips. And even though we try to block it, they're like, we will not be stopped. They will fight back for their ability to fight. And this is what's going to end up happening. They're going to want to fight. And even if you don't want to fight, it's like a bully in school, bro. You're gonna have to fight them. You're gonna have to do something about it, and you're gonna either have to punch the bully straight square in the nose, like you're going to prison, just knock out the biggest dude so people stop fucking with you, or we're gonna have to fight for this thing we call the world. And thank God Elon Musk is working on a different planet, because man, we're fucking up this one quick. We're putting in the pollution. We're putting in the aggression, and we're definitely raping the world. You know what I mean? For all her juicy resources, you know, the trees, the water, it's all on chopping block. And I just called my friend. I'm like, did you guys see this? This is fucking crazy. These dudes are posing by nuclear weapons, showing it off and showing the world. It's almost like Germany again. I'm getting flashbacks. Like they're arming up and they just want to flex how many soldiers can walk and step. And it's just not. It's not what I wanted to see in the 21st century. It is not what I was hoping for a World War III, or or the capacity of these motherfuckers to pull shit. And trust me, they will. By 2027, everybody's waiting for it in less than 2 years, because this year's almost up. And in a year, which we all know goes like a snap in time, they'll be coming back and going after this shit. And it's fucking stupid to do, bro. Going to work. I didn't see Saints. I have to go, but I'm your subscriber. Yay, thank you, Lua. I appreciate that. Got to go to work now. Go ahead, Jonathan. What's up, Jamal? I see you, bro. It is scary, and I don't get scared that often. It's just like, I'm 45 years old, and I would have to be conscripted. I would have to, instead of building a business, I would have to focus on a war. Instead of building a family, everybody's too scared. And what kind of world would we live in? I don't want the fucking Chinese to rule the world, to fucking facial recognize me and then tell me I can't sit in a certain seat or buy a certain ticket or be on their system. We already seen what they did with Hong Kong, a free state. And once they took it over, dude, it became a fucking a pariah state. They fucking started arresting all the free speech. Anybody that spoke out against China, you can't even fucking live like that, because guess what? You ain't Chinese, and they're subversive, bro. Subversive behavior, the art of war, and to steal our technology. Maybe they know how to work it, maybe they don't. Maybe their production is shitty, and we all know cheap Chinese construction. But damn, bro, it was not the time. And that's why I wanted to say, wake the fuck up, you guys. It's fucking happening. These guys aren't going to go slow down. They're only going to try to build more missiles and more drones to fight us, and we're going to build more drones. And thank God these guys fly by robotics. Those are guys that make the drones here in America, or I'm in Finland, but you know, in America, 100% American made. And we're going to need to protect ourselves. We're going to have to need engineers. We're going to need more than just soldiers. We're going to need capable, intelligent people. And instead of growing out of our debt or paying our rent or doing the same shit that we always do, our whole lives will have to pivot, and then we'll have to hopefully unify two of these beach ball stripes to fight this one beach ball stripe, and fight hopefully not in our lands, and hopefully not with nuclear weapons. So it's just a very scary situation. That, hey man, I appreciate the subscribes, bro. I'm almost to 1,600 subs, bro. I can't unlock my Saints Giving donation app till I hit 10,000 subs, and I can't sell my shirts, the Saints Addiction shirts, till I get 10,000 subs. So that's my goal, is just to do the merch shelf and to reach, preach, and teach every morning. Like, usually it's all about positivity and love. I say peace and love all the time, but right now it's about watch your ass, bro. We got to watch our ass. Do not underestimate your enemy. Study them. That's like Japan studied everybody else. Japan whipped up fucking Korea, Russia, and China, bro. Little old Japan back in the day. Now they're our ally, and so are the Philippines, and so is Australia, and we're making what's it called? An AESA cooperation. I forget the terminology, but even those guys are like, yo, dude, I kind of like my freedom. I kind of like my car. I like kind of going to work and raising a family and having some freedoms in my life to, oh, now we got to all wear the same clothes. Pull a China, we already know they killed 50 million of their own people, and they're heartless, bro. Have you ever seen Mao Zedong smile? Or, I mean, whoops, Xi Jinping, whoops. He might as well be Mao Zedong too. Mao Zedong 2.0 is Xi Jinping, and if you don't know, Xi Jinping's father actually was a friend and ally, and the guy that saved the Communist Party when they were running away from the nationals in the China. So this is all in history books. You can go watch it yourself. It's free. We all need to learn something about history. But that's the thing. It's a situation where we all want to fucking chill. We all want to fucking raise a family and have freedom and be able to be grilling and chilling around the world. But guess what's about to happen? We'll have to fixate on war and building up fucking armament and going after motherfuckers and showing them what's up. And sure, I hate to say it, but America's sword is soaked in blood. Like, we're well versed at whooping ass and taking names. Matter of fact, I was just watching them do a Hellfire missile to a speedboat off of Venezuela because they were trying to do some drug action. We have no problem being the world's police. We took over it from World War II from the English. We're like, hey, we'll do this world protector, world police position. We'll take that on, no problem. And it became a big problem because now you have to be the person that almost spends $1.838 billion a year to keep up the war machine, what we call the industrial complex, military industrial complex, which is all the factories. And then we don't even have that many factories. Here's the worst part. I think we're down to like two ports that can actually build motherfucking looking ass glasses build warships. And of course there's like 20 of them, 20 times that amount in China, and now they have the largest navy. When did that happen? So it's enough to miss the bus. It's scary as fuck for them to just fucking pal up and bump elbows and scare the world with all this armament, and the rest of us have to keep being in conscription, and we got to dust off our nuclear silos, and we got to build golden domes to make sure none of their motherfucking shit can leave the earth and come our way. And then I found out these things can go underground or underwater for like 10,000 kilometers, then pop up and come up and try to be aggressive. So it's scary, dude. The balance, the powers are becoming unbalanced, and I don't know. I mean, with the balance that it's been for the last 80 years since World War II, there's been so much prosperity, there's been so much growth, and private equity has grown, and people can own homes and have some savings and have some freedoms and have the things they want to buy. All that shit comes to a halt, and then you got to stop and say, okay, no more electronics. Like, we're going to have a tough time getting electronics. We're going to have to build up factories that have been closed for over 50 years. Who even knows how to run those factories? And if you don't believe me, the Roman Empire, too, also fell because they forgot even how to do their own geometry. These are the people that built the Colosseums, aqueducts, and all sorts of underground water facilities for fountains, and then it was forgotten. Like, can you believe it? Like, all that technology and education's forgotten. So say we got to learn how to do artillery. Do you know how? I don't. You know what I mean? Like, or run a tank. Miss me with it. It's not in my education, and it's going to take a while to come up to armament and be so far away. They're only 120 kilometers away. We're like 8,000 kilometers away, and then we got to go over to their side of the hood, go all that side of the planet, and fight a whole war that's so far away from our resources. So it's something that we don't want to repeat. We don't want to do World War III. We don't want to be the type of people to be caught up with our fucking pants around our ankles, be like, oh shit, I was taking a shit, and then now you got to fight while you just got done with your fucking pants around your ankles, and you're gonna try to swing on someone. It's time to wake the fuck up, bro. We all need to be getting educated. We all need to be studying history. We all need to be prepared to be able to do whatever is necessary to keep our way of life. And if we don't like it, that's tough shit. That's the way the world's always worked. You know, it's always been like, I'm sure the Irish didn't appreciate the Vikings coming in, but they created Dublin. And I'm sure, you know, Finland didn't want to be this close to Russia being on their other side, but here they are, and they got underground bunkers. That's what I was thinking of, the word, the bunkers, so they can live in case these motherfuckers pull the nuclear trigger. So I don't normally spend my morning motivation on geopolitics, but yesterday it scared me enough to call my friends, and I said, did you see this shit? You know, it was once, I was like, did you see India holding hands with Russia and joking around with Xi Jinping the day before? That was the first one. Didn't mention it. But then when they did the fucking, let's show off all of our nuclear arms and let's be all hand in hand and show the world that we're united, and I look like Mao Zedong and I look like the most communist Chinese leader ever, and I'm not smiling and I'm pointing the way forward just like I left in my thumbnail, and showing them like nothing can stop us, and we use rhetoric like, you know, we won't be intimidated by what was the word that they said, by bullies, you know what I mean? And they're gonna want to position it or rewrite the narrative so that it becomes something like that. That's what they do. They make it seem like that we encroached on them, even though all the other countries sprinkled off of Yugoslavia, and Lithuania and Estonia sprinkled off of Ukraine, sprinkled off the old USSR and Russia, right? And I think they earned it. They've always wanted to have, they have their own language, and they've always wanted to have their own territory. And now these guys are going to spin it and be like, we want our territories back. We want to push NATO back. They're too close. Or China's going to be like, we want direct access to the Pacific and our commerce, and we don't like democracies being so close to our land. It's almost like a Cuba Missile Crisis, if you will. And we're going to be like, okay, you guys, you need to relax. And then we're going to try to drum up somebody, our small little brother Australia, and our even smaller, and our other small brother Japan, and anybody that's in the Indo-Pacific area, to come combat the three largest powers that just combined and put their arms together in front of the world, showing all their arms and showing this armament, this buildup. Bro, we got to wake the fuck up. We gotta wake the fuck up. I hope it don't happen. I really do. I wish it just keeps going and going in perpetuity, and we can just keep smelling each other's butts and going in circles around each other. But eventually, somebody will snap. Somebody will fucking hit the wrong fishing vessel, or the wrong person will die. And just like V for Vendetta, this shit will pop off, and then we won't have any more freedoms. There will be no lies. This shit will fucking go down in the DMs, and I don't mean direct messages. I'm talking right like direct muscle, and everybody's going to have to show up and say who knows how to work their drones the best, who has the best coordination, and what strategy works the best, because it's going to be a toss-up. It used to be a hands-down coin flip, and right now it's a coin flip, and I didn't like what I saw, because now there's three dudes flipping, and God forbid any of them flip out, because now they're in cahoots, and then we're going to have to smack up three bullies instead of separately, but at the same time. So it's enough to wake me up this morning, motivation, and talk about it on time. I really didn't have a discussion with my friends, and they really didn't want to talk about it. And he was even saying American, Russian are friends, and I was like, bro, you're too high for me right now. So it's my morning motivation. If you got anything out of this, you already know, like, share, and subscribe below. But as always, peace and love. And Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever, and finish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. Peace.